Imagine stepping into a world of opulence and power, only to be treated like a ghost, until one unexpected voice shatters the silence and unleashes a chain of events that could topple empires. What happens when a Japanese billionaire's invisibility cloak is pierced by a single, heartfelt word? Dive in, because this tale of hidden identities, cultural clashes, and explosive revelations will grip you from the first line to the shocking twist that demands you read on. In the bustling heart of New York City, where skyscrapers pierce the clouds like arrogant fingers reaching for the heavens, Hiroshi Tanaka arrived without fanfare, his private jet touching down on a private airstrip under the cover of a stormy evening, the rain lashing against the windows as if the city itself was weeping at his presence, though no one knew who he was or why he had come. For Hiroshi was not just any man but a billionaire whose fortune eclipsed that of entire nations. Built from the ground up in the neon-lit streets of Tokyo, where he had started as a humble programmer tinkering with algorithms in a cramped apartment, only to revolutionize the tech world with innovations in artificial intelligence that powered everything from self-driving cars to global financial systems. Yet here in this foreign land he was a stranger, his face unfamiliar to the masses who worshipped American tycoons like gods, and as he stepped out into the drizzle, his tailored suit clinging slightly to his frame, he adjusted his glasses and signaled to his discreet bodyguard to handle the luggage, the man nodding silently as they made their way to the waiting limousine, the driver holding an umbrella but barely glancing at Hiroshi, treating him like any other passenger, which was precisely the point. For Hiroshi had orchestrated this trip in secrecy, shedding his usual entourage of sycophants and security details to experience the world as an ordinary traveler. A test of sorts to see if his wealth truly defined him, or if he could blend into the anonymity that he secretly craved after years of being hounded by paparazzi and business rivals back home. And as the limo glided through the traffic-choked avenues, Hiroshi gazed out at the throngs of people hurrying under colorful umbrellas, their lives a tapestry of ambition and struggle that mirrored his own early days, reminding him of the orphanage in Kyoto where he had grown up, parentless and penniless. Scraping by on sheer intellect and determination, hacking into school computers to learn coding before anyone else his age even knew what a firewall was, and by 20 he had founded his first startup, a cybersecurity firm that caught the eye of venture capitalists, snowballing into an empire that now spanned continents, with subsidiaries in Silicon Valley, Shanghai, and London. But despite his success, a gnawing emptiness persisted, a sense that people only saw the money, not the man. Which is why he had chosen this incognito journey, booking a suite at the prestigious Waldorf Astoria under a false name, Mr. Sato, a common alias that wouldn't raise eyebrows. And as he entered the grand lobby with its crystal chandeliers sparkling like captured stars and marble floors echoing with the footsteps of the elite, he noticed how the doorman barely nodded. The concierge glanced past him to greet a flashy celebrity couple arriving with an entourage, their laughter ringing hollow in the opulent space, and Hiroshi felt a pang of invisibility, his presence dissolving into the background noise of clinking glasses and murmured conversations. For no one recognized the subtle signs of his wealth, the Patek Philippe watch hidden under his sleeve, the bespoke shoes crafted by Italian artisans, or the quiet confidence that came from commanding boardrooms where fortunes were made and broken. And he approached the check-in desk, sliding his passport across the counter. The clerk, a young woman with a name tag reading Emily, typing away without looking up, her voice monotone as she confirmed the reservation, handing him a keycard with a perfunctory, "Enjoy your stay," not bothering to offer the VIP treatment that his real identity would demand. And as he rode the elevator up to the penthouse level, alone except for the faint hum of machinery, he reflected on the irony, how in Japan he couldn't walk a block without being swarmed. Yet here he was just another Asian face in a sea of diversity, blending seamlessly into the multicultural fabric of the city, and stepping into his suite, he unpacked methodically, placing his laptop on the desk and connecting to the secure network to check on his companies, the stock tickers scrolling green across the screen, affirming his dominance in the market, but even that felt distant, like watching someone else's life. and deciding to venture out, he changed into casual attire. A simple button-down shirt and slacks to explore the streets, wandering through Times Square where the billboards blared advertisements for products his firms had helped develop. Yet no one spared him a glance, tourists snapping photos, street performers juggling for tips, vendors hawking hot dogs, and Hiroshi bought one, savoring the unfamiliar taste as he sat on a bench, observing the chaos, feeling a strange liberation in being ignored. But beneath it lurked a subtle hurt, a reminder of his orphaned childhood when teachers overlooked him in class, assuming he was just another quiet kid without potential, until he aced every exam and proved them wrong, much like now, where he could buy the entire square if he wanted, but chose silence. And as night fell, he returned to the hotel, dining alone in the upscale restaurant, the waiter serving him with professional detachment, no special attention, just another patron, and Hiroshi pondered if this was what normalcy felt like, or if it was a facade he was imposing on himself, testing his resilience against rejection. And the next day he attended a tech conference anonymously, slipping into the back row of a panel discussion on AI ethics, listening to speakers debate issues his own algorithms had pioneered, chuckling inwardly at their misconceptions. But when question time came, he raised his hand, only to be passed over repeatedly, the moderator calling on more recognizable faces, leaving Hiroshi's query unspoken. Amplifying his sense of erasure and frustrated yet intrigued, he left early, hailing a cab to Central Park where he strolled the paths, feeding ducks and watching families picnic, envying their simple connections, and it was there he met an old street artist sketching portraits, who offered to draw him for a fee, capturing his likeness with uncanny accuracy, commenting on the wise eyes that spoke of hidden depths. The first genuine interaction in days, but even that was fleeting. And back at the hotel, exhaustion set in, but sleep eluded him, his mind racing with memories of boardroom battles, hostile takeovers, and the loneliness that wealth amplified. And on the third day, he decided to push the experiment further, booking a table at an exclusive club known for its celebrity clientele, arriving in his finest suit. Yet the bouncer eyed him skeptically, asking for ID multiple times before letting him in. And inside, the room buzzed with networking elites, actors, investors, models, all schmoozing under dim lights. But as Hiroshi circulated, glass of sake in hand, conversations dried up when he approached, people turning away mid-sentence, assuming he was a nobody, one group even mistaking him for a waiter and asking for refills, which he politely declined, retreating to a corner booth to observe, his ego bruised but his curiosity piqued, wondering how long he could endure this charade before revealing himself. And it was then, as he signaled for the check, that a young maid entered the lounge to clean up a spill, her uniform crisp and her movements efficient, humming softly to herself in what sounded like Japanese, catching Hiroshi's ear. And as she passed his table, she looked up, their eyes meeting for a brief moment, and with a warm smile she said "Irashimasu," the traditional Japanese welcome, her accent perfect, as if she had been born in Tokyo, and in that instant the world shifted, Hiroshi's heart skipping a beat, for no one had addressed him in his native tongue since arriving, let alone with such genuine hospitality. And he responded instinctively in Japanese, "Arigato, thank you," sparking a conversation that would unravel everything. But for now, in this chapter's unfolding, it was the spark that ignited the fire, drawing him out of his self-imposed isolation. Her name was Eiko, an immigrant from Osaka working multiple jobs to support her family back home. And as they talked, she shared stories of her homeland, unaware of who he was, treating him like a fellow countryman lost in a foreign city. And Hiroshi felt seen for the first time, the barriers crumbling. But little did he know this encounter would lead to revelations that threatened his empire, for Eiko held secrets of her own, tied to a past scandal in his company. And as the night wore on, their dialogue deepened, weaving through cultural nuances and personal dreams, Hiroshi revealing fragments of his life without disclosing his identity, feeling a connection that transcended status. And by dawn, as he returned to his suite, the city awakening around him, he realized this maid's simple welcome had pierced the veil of his anonymity, setting in motion events that would challenge his worldview, expose hidden enemies, and perhaps even redefine his legacy. But the full impact was yet to come, lingering on the horizon like a gathering storm, compelling him, and you, the reader, to press forward into the unknown depths of what lay ahead in the next chapter, where alliances form, betrayals surface, and the true power of a single word unfolds in ways no one could predict, keeping the tension taut and the pages turning relentlessly. As the first light of morning filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Hiroshi's penthouse suite, casting golden hues across the disheveled bed where he had tossed and turned all night, replaying the maid's welcome in his mind like a looped recording, he rose with a newfound energy, the word irashimasu echoing as a beacon in the fog of his isolation. And after a quick shower and a breakfast of miso soup ordered from room service, reminding him of home, he decided to seek out Eiko again. Not just for conversation, but to understand why her presence felt like fate intervening in his experiment of anonymity. And descending to the lobby, he inquired discreetly at the front desk about the cleaning staff, the clerk raising an eyebrow but providing a schedule that placed her in the East Wing that afternoon. So Hiroshi wandered the hotel corridors, his steps purposeful yet casual, until he spotted her pushing a cart laden with linens and supplies, her hair tied back in a ponytail, humming the same melody from the night before, and approaching cautiously, he greeted her in Japanese, "Ohiu gozaimasu," good morning, watching her face light up with surprise and delight. "Ohiu. I didn't expect to see you again so soon," she replied, her eyes sparkling with genuine warmth, and thus began a dialogue that stretched into hours, Eiko taking her break to sit with him in a quiet alcove, sharing tales of her journey from Osaka, where she had worked as a translator before economic downturns forced her family into debt, prompting her move to America for better opportunities, sending remittances home to support her ailing mother and younger siblings. And Hiroshi, still under his alias, opened up about his own struggles, the orphanage days, the relentless climb to success, omitting the billions but hinting at tech involvements, finding solace in her empathetic nods and shared cultural references, like favorite ramen spots in Japan or festivals they both missed. And as the conversation flowed, Eiko mentioned a troubling incident from her past, a corporate scandal involving a Tokyo firm that had laid off thousands, including her father, who never recovered. The company accused of data breaches and unethical AI practices, and Hiroshi's blood ran cold, for that was his company, Tanaka Tech, the very empire he ruled, though he had delegated those decisions to executives, believing them handled fairly. But Eiko's story painted a darker picture, of families ruined and lives upended, and feigning ignorance, he probed deeper, learning she had evidence, documents smuggled out by a whistleblower friend, hidden away in case she needed leverage. And suddenly the welcome felt less like coincidence and more like destiny's trap, for if she discovered his identity, it could spark a media firestorm, toppling his stock and reputation. Yet instead of fleeing, Hiroshi felt compelled to investigate, inviting her to dinner that evening under the guise of friendship. And as they dined at a hidden Japanese restaurant in Chinatown, savoring sushi and sake, the bond strengthened, Eiko confiding her dreams of starting a nonprofit to aid displaced workers, inspiring Hiroshi to reflect on his own philanthropy, which had been more tax write-off than heartfelt. And back at the hotel, as they parted with a promise to meet again, Hiroshi dove into his laptop, hacking into his company's secure servers. Ironic, given his cybersecurity roots, to uncover the truth, discovering emails and memos revealing executive corruption, embezzlement masked as layoffs, and his signature forged on approvals, igniting a rage that propelled him into action. Contacting his trusted lawyer in Tokyo to launch an internal probe, but his days blurred into a whirlwind of clandestine meetings with Eiko, where she unknowingly provided clues that aligned with his findings. A shadow loomed, for rivals within his board, sensing vulnerability in his absence, plotted a coup, leaking rumors of his disappearance to the press, causing stock dips, and meanwhile Eiko's past caught up, her whistleblower friend contacting her about threats from goons tied to Tanaka Tech. forcing her to consider going public, and Hiroshi, torn between loyalty to his creation and justice, revealed fragments of his involvement, testing her reaction only to find forgiveness in her eyes. People change, she said, if they choose to, sparking a partnership where they combined forces, Aiko's documents fueling his purge of corrupt elements, leading to arrests and reforms. But the climax erupted when board members, desperate, hired investigators who traced Hiroshi's location. Storming the hotel in a dramatic confrontation, accusations flying as security clashed, and in the chaos Aiko stood by him, her welcome evolving into unwavering support, helping expose the ringleader, a former mentor turned traitor. And as the dust settled, Hiroshi publicly reclaimed his identity, announcing sweeping changes at a press conference, crediting an anonymous hero who turned out to be Aiko, elevating her to an executive role in his new ethical AI division. Their relationship blossoming into romance amid the rebuilt empire, with Hiroshi finding purpose beyond wealth, in connections and accountability. And as the story closes, the city that once ignored him now celebrated, but the true victory was personal. A reminder that one word can bridge worlds, heal wounds, and forge futures, leaving readers inspired by themes of redemption, cultural pride, and the power of human kindness in a materialistic age, urging reflection on their own overlooked encounters that might change everything if given a chance. If this gripping tale of invisibility, revelation, and triumph left you on the edge of your seat, craving more powerful stories that blend suspense, culture, and heart-pounding twists, hit that subscribe button now. Join our channel for weekly scripts that transport you to new worlds. Don't miss out. Subscribe today and turn on notifications to never ignore the next big story.